Hi, now I'm Robin Lundberg here with Amy Campbell and the Crossover's Rohan Nadkarni. The World Cup kicks off today, and we have plenty of coverage. But first, Lonzo Ball is following in his father's footsteps by making news with his mouth.
Yeah, the Lakers have had enough of the social media beef between Kyle Kuzma and Lonzo Ball after Ball released a diss track about his teammate, including a reference to Kuzma not knowing who his father is. Now, the two have been jokingly taking shots at each other on social media all year, but now ESPN's Ramona Shelburne is reporting that the team has stepped in and asked them to just tone it down. So who actually needs to chill here, Lonzo and Kuzma or the Lakers?
It's the Lakers. Let them have some fun. First of all, that's the hottest track Lonzo's ever dropped. Now is when you want to come in and stifle his rap career. I'm not gonna lie, that BBB single kind of went too. I was found myself singing it in the shower and stuff.
Oh no.
I really liked that track. Granted, I mean, our whole staff was talking about it. Really weird that he brought up the thing about Kuzma's father, but I think they know each other well enough that they're having some fun.
I'm with you. This is less of a story if the Lakers don't intervene, right? And I don't know if we come from the same places, but for me, it was a snap battle, an insult contest with your friends. I like the pineapples on your shirt, but if we were, growing up, I would have to take a crack at them.
Yeah.
Right. This is a love language that I don't really understand, but I think that this is, like we said, this is how these two are bonding, and if they're okay with it, I'm okay with it. I understand why the Lakers are afraid after the Swaggy EP, D'Angelo Russell debacle, and they don't want it to escalate to that. But this is so different.
Listen, I tweet stuff about my coworkers all the time that's in good fun. I might make some memes out of them and stuff. This is what the kids are doing,
Yes.
Come on, this is what the kids are doing, guys. I say let them have some fun, and I could not agree more. The Lakers are making this a thing by stepping in.
They aren't really your friend if you don't try and crush their very soul.
Exactly, yeah.
This is a true badge of honor.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a new segment we're about to debut. I'm very excited. It's called Clean or Flagrant. And actually, we're going to start with you guys doing diss tracks against each other. I'm just kidding. So I'm going to throw an NBA topic out there. If you think it's true, clean. If you think it's false, it's flagrant. So we'll get started with this. So after preparing for this and now being the favorites to land him, it would be considered a choke if Magic Johnson doesn't get LeBron this summer. Robin, you start.
I think that's clean at this point. That's the perception now. Whether it's true or not, Magic Johnson has spent a lot of time clearing the books for this summer. And all of a sudden, the Lakers have become this prohibitive favorite, it seems like, in this sweepstakes. There's a lot of time to go. But if they wind up without LeBron after all this talk, linking him there, including the LeBron, L.A. Bron nickname, I think it will reflect poorly on Magic Johnson.
That's interesting. I truly think it's flagrant, and it's two reasons. No one in the NBA lands LeBron James anymore, right? LeBron James chooses you.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to come down to Magic Johnson or any kind of pitch he makes. LeBron, it's funny, when we talk about NBA players in free agency, we're like, best team fit, and people talk about the off-court stuff with LeBron. LeBron serves a lot of people, so to speak, right? Nike, his business interests. So there's a lot that's going to go into this decision, so I'm not willing to put that blame on Magic Johnson just yet. So I'm going to say flagrant.
I agree that you can't put the blame on Magic, and he's doing everything that he can to get LeBron. And if his kids are going to him at the end of the day and saying, we don't want to leave Cleveland, that's not
I'm not
Magic.
saying it's going to actually be his fault. I'm saying after it doesn't happen, people are going to get on TV and say Magic Johnson blew this.
That's true. Everybody definitely will blame Magic Johnson if this doesn't happen. All right, the next one. Since Kyrie Irving won't commit to the Celtics long term, Danny Ainge should trade Kyrie.
This is flagrant. Now, a lot of people are kind of latching on to some of these Kyrie quotes lately. Kyrie's being a smart businessman. He can sign a massive contract next summer if he doesn't sign an extension this year. Beyond that, if he wants to get into a bidding war in free agency, he can get into a bidding war in free agency. So I don't think the Celtics need to trade Kyrie. They certainly could if they wanted to, but only if Kawhi or Anthony Davis or someone comes available. But Kyrie is being smart by what he's doing.
It's flagrant because Kyrie is very good, right? That's why it's flagrant. It's clean as far as why you would consider doing it if there were options available, because you're right, financially it behooves Kyrie not to sign an extension right now. But that doesn't mean he couldn't say, hey, I plan to be in Boston long term, because what does this guy want? You were the co-star on a championship-level team getting to take more shots than LeBron, and then you went to a great situation in Boston. If you're not happy there, what will make you happy across this flat earth?
Well, I mean, they're already talking about maybe bringing in LeBron. He's already getting asked. It's like just when he thinks he's out, they pull him back in for Kyrie. Last year, he's like, whew, this is it. No more LeBron questions. Now, the man's been out, his knee's hurting, and people are like, hey, what do you think about playing with LeBron? It's like this guy can't escape him.
I want to talk about Uncle Drew.
Yeah, I'm here to promote my movie, and what did he say? I'll take one question a day. I'm hoping for the next year about what my future is going to be. Oh, God bless him. All right, next. Clean or flagrant, considering not being fully appreciated for winning with Warriors and clowned by the GM at the parade, KD should look elsewhere.
I'm going clean. I'm going clean for his career evaluation. You know, Kevin Durant will never get his just due winning those championships with the Warriors. I've said it before, I don't take away from his greatness as a player, but I do take away from the greatness of that achievement winning the rings. If he wants to flip that script a little bit, he could go somewhere else and do the same thing or get close to doing the same thing, and I think that would help him more than more rings in Golden State.
I'm with Robin here completely. It's clean. The best move for KD from a legacy standpoint is to go somewhere else and prove that he can do it. You know, it's funny. On one hand, Kevin Durant seems like this kind of guy. He had these quotes about leadership. I don't need to be the guy that says, hey, come follow me. He likes being part of a team. That's cool. I appreciate that. At the same time, it seems like every time he gives one of these interviews, he's searching for that validation. It's like he's trying to say what people want. You know, he's just lost in something. And I don't know if he's truly happy in this situation. There have been some whispers coming out of Golden State that maybe it's not as cohesive as people say. So I do wonder if he'd be happier somewhere else.
Remember when we were up 30 in the fourth quarter and I hit a shot and took their souls?
Remember when I was posting up George Hill and they couldn't send a double team and it was a drug for me? It's like, come on, man.
So that's a really good point about him searching for something. I feel like we've seen that evolution of him, that he thought this move to Golden State would fulfill something deeper, and then he just seemed so angry this whole season.
He said it himself that he thought he was going to feel more validation when he won the championship last summer, and he didn't. And you know, he's searching for something, and I don't know what's going to make him happy. We talk about Kyrie. What's going to make him happy?
There's a deeper hole there for him. It'll be interesting to see what the next step for KD is. All right, finally, he's the second most talked about player this offseason. Paul George is not worth all of the hype this offseason. Clean or flagrant?
I'm going to go flagrant on this one. I still think Paul George is a great player. It just depends on the situation he ends up in. Again, I just don't know if OKC was the best fit. I think if they got rid of Melo, it would actually be a better fit for him. But you look at Paul George, if he goes to a team like Philadelphia, if he goes to a team like Houston, he's going to make them a lot better. I mean, he's a great two-way player. It comes down to his role, right? If you're asking to be poor man's KD, not great. If you're asking to be rich man's Iguodala, that's awesome.
It's flagrant in the sense that he's great as a complementary piece if he goes somewhere with LeBron or he goes into that Philadelphia core. It's clean if you're talking about Paul George being worth all of the discussion as an individual player, because I don't think he is anymore.
He is an MVP candidate on my 2K team. So, I mean, there's that.
So that's definitely worth something. Yeah, I think a lot of teams are kind of needing that one piece that maybe he's not going to be that superstar, that A player, but he could be a really good veteran complement to a lot of teams right now.
If he was a second or third banana on a championship contender, you're in a good spot.
Nothing better than being a second or third banana.
Banana boat.
Banana boat. There you go. We'll bring it full circle.
I'm joined now by former U.S. midfielder and current Fox Sports lead game analyst for the World Cup, Stu Holden. Of course, you can catch all the World Cup action on Fox and FS1. Stu, big news yesterday with U.S., Canada, Mexico securing the 2026 Cup. What do you think this bid means for U.S. soccer going forward?
Well, everybody, Robin, has been talking about how the United States didn't qualify for this World Cup. If you had offered me before this announcement whether we would get the World Cup or not, and the U.S. didn't have to make this World Cup, I would have bitten your hand off and taken the bid between U.S., Mexico, and Canada coming back to North America, because I think this will be the single biggest Kickstarter in terms of soccer and its growth in the United States and what this will do going forward as far as grassroots, as far as commercial sponsorships for kids that are wanting to play, for the professional game, for Major League Soccer, for the Canadian Federation. I mean, you name it. I could continue to list off things that this will have a significant impact on for the game in North America. And when we talk about how this game has grown since 1994, I fully believe that this will be that little injection to take the game over that line and really cement its place as one of the top sports in the United States.
All right, turning our attention to the current World Cup, some very surprising news with Spain firing Julen Lopetegui. And how do you think this move will affect them, firing their coach right on the eve of the World Cup?
Yeah, it's crazy. How about that? A coach that has gone 20 games unbeaten as Spanish manager signs a contract with Real Madrid a couple days before the tournament starts, and Spain decides to part ways with him. It's a really big decision, but honestly, in hearing how it all went down, I don't disagree with the decision. Bringing in Hierro as a coach, a guy that's very experienced as a player, both for Real Madrid and for the Spanish national team, having played in a number of World Cups himself. He's a big figure, but it'll be very interesting to see how that impacts the players on the field, because I think it's nice in theory to know that the way that Spain play, and they have a lot of experienced players that have won Champions Leagues and World Cups, but when you have to make those little changes within the game, Hierro has not coached in a while. He doesn't have the same feel for the group that Lopetegui did. So in terms of a team morale, I think from a Spanish Federation standpoint, it's good that they took a stand and that they let them know that the Spanish team and the flag is more important than anyone. But it could have a severe impact on this team. So I'm really looking to how they approach this first game against Portugal. And do they put all that conversation behind them by coming out and dominating Portugal in this first game and picking up 3 points?
That's not an easy match to start with, of course, against Portugal. You're interested to see how it goes. How do you think it will go? Who do you like in that match?
Yeah, it's funny because we were talking this morning at breakfast about this game and saying, well, we haven't even talked about Ronaldo in Portugal now, because all the talk has been about Spain. And we all know how Ronaldo likes to act in those situations. He turns up for the big games. He's playing against a number of his teammates at club level for Real Madrid, against guys from Barcelona that he plays in, week out. Portugal, the way that they play, they're going to make it very difficult for Spain. They defend really well in 2 blocks of 4. And for Spain, just so talented in possession. I think that Spain edges this one tomorrow night here in Sochi. And you can see the stadium behind me. It's a cool 75 degrees, but game time is going to be a lot later. It'll be a lot chillier. I expect this game to be played at a very fast tempo, all the energy within this stadium. But if you're picking me for a prediction, I'm going to say 2-1 Spain in this opening game, which would really give them a lift.
While we've got you on the predictions, is there an underdog you think could surprise this weekend?
Here we go. I'm doing the Icelandic clap here because, look, they were the story at the Euros. Everybody loved it. A population of 300,000 plus, a country that everybody just loved to root for. Now, I'm not even sure if they're going to get out of this group. It's a really tough one with Croatia, Nigeria, and Argentina. But the reason that I love this underdog story is because I think they're going to make it very, very difficult for Argentina in that first game. Argentina is a team under Sampaoli. They haven't quite figured out how they want to play the ideas. He's thinking they're going to play more defensive. If you take away some of the offensive weapons on that team and you come against an Icelandic team that works harder, I think, than any other team in this tournament, that game has 1-0, maybe a 1-1 if Iceland can score a goal on a set piece. But they're my underdogs because I just love to root for them. It's a story that you're going to get wrapped in. You're going to, some of the players, they work second jobs. The coach used to be a dentist. He tells all the people, the fans, the lineup in a bar before the game. They just have a really family-first feel to it. And if you don't know the story, you're going to learn it right here on our coverage with Fox. And right now, we all just can't wait to get this tournament started.
You know, we talked about the bid in 2026 for North America. Mexico is in this tournament you just referenced. Is this the year Mexico makes it past the round of 16?
Oh, man. El Quinto. Everybody's talking about this 5th game for Mexico, and I don't think they are. I don't think they're going to get to that 5th game. They haven't been in great form coming into this tournament. They lose one of their most important players in Diego Reyes, who doesn't make the final cut because he didn't quite make it with an injury. Juan Carlos Osorio is under pressure. All signs are pointing that he's going to leave after this tournament, win or lose, no matter how it goes for them. They're in a tough group as well. They start against Germany, the defending champions, in a game that they could take a significant loss in. If they have a good performance in that game, I'm going to pick them to get out of the group. And then beyond that, I don't think they make it to the 5th game. And sadly, Mexican fans might be left feeling disappointed yet again.
Stu Holden, you can catch him on World Cup coverage, Fox and FS1, live from the World Cup. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Legal sports betting is happening in New Jersey, and I'm joined by one of the men who made it happen, Senator Jeff Van Drew. Senator, you were one of the sponsors for the bill to legalize sports gambling in New Jersey, as well as one of the original advocates for legalized sports gambling in general. And it's been a very long journey to this point. So what does it mean now that this is all a reality?
Well, it's certainly great for New Jersey, and I think it's great for the country, actually, too, because the notion that we shouldn't allow it because it would reduce the integrity of sports, I always thought was a ridiculous notion. The reality is the serious type of gambling that went on regarding sports was dangerous in many ways. I've looked at a lot of studies on this, and this is what got me involved in it in the first place. And in actuality, money that was used for illegal sportsbook in the past actually was also involved with prostitution, with extortion, and with other obviously very unattractive aspects of our society. So it was nothing that would, in sportsbook, legal sportsbook, that would hurt the integrity of the game. So I think, number one, that's good. Secondly, what's great is, particularly for an area like Atlantic City, when it is Super Bowl Sunday or the World Series or any other major event, it's really truly going to help the area, not so much only in the direct revenues come in, which aren't really that significant, but it's all the indirect activity that takes place.
What were some of the biggest hurdles to getting this thing done?
Well, in the beginning, one of the biggest hurdles was, now I was involved in this way back when I was a state representative. And actually, I got the first bill done that passed through the House. But unfortunately, at the time in the Senate president back then was not for sportsbook and would not support it, so we couldn't get it through the Senate. There were some folks that felt it was a foolproof federal law, that there was nothing that could be done, that literally not even the Supreme Court would change that. And that was wrong, because the basis of the law was discriminatory, number one. The fact that, certain states could have it and other states couldn't just didn't make sense, even based on the past history of the state. Secondly, what was also wrong, the legislation was based on the Interstate Commerce Clause, which was really a faulty basis to begin with. So that was our argument as we went forward, actually way back in years past. And it just took a lot of time for people to start really believing this can be done.
Some places will start accepting bets Thursday, and some people have been critical about how quickly New Jersey has been able to get the operation started so soon after the Supreme Court removed the ban on sports betting. How do you respond to those who would suggest you're moving too fast before having a sound infrastructure in place?
It isn't moving too fast, number one. It's exciting for the state. It's very exciting for Atlantic City and the racetracks. They were really ready to move forward the minute it was legalized, and we just had to pass the enabling legislation.
Initially, the sports leagues asked New Jersey lawmakers to institute what's called an integrity fee on each bet in order to help police illegal wagering and game fixing, which the legislature declined. Now, I know there are many schools of thought on integrity fees. What's your stance on this issue?
I don't know. I almost thought it was an oxymoron, integrity fees. I mean, I didn't think there was that much integrity on their part to ask for a fee when they were originally against the whole idea of sportsbook. And, to now say that you want a piece of the action, to me seemed ridiculous. This is going to be used actually for seniors and for, the money that's made from this and other good notions in the state. And I think that's good. I don't think they deserve an integrity fee. They are certainly making a lot of money. This now lets the sunshine in. It's controlled. It is not only legal, but it will also be something that will be done in a way that's fair and honest. And you certainly didn't know that before with some of the illegal books that was going on. So I think it's good all the way around. I think it actually moves us forward in a positive way, both legally, ethically, and certainly in a business sense as well. And I don't think they deserve to get a piece of the action. They fought it. They didn't want to do it. It's now done. And there's no legal basis for them to get any money for it.
So in the future, what do you think this will look like down the road? Maybe betting live on apps, maybe even in stadium as games are going on. What do you see for the future?
Well, just like there's no limit to where technology is taking us, and this certainly will be technology-based, and there's going to be no, limit to where we can go with the internet, obviously, and that's going to be part of it. So some of it is going to be the excitement to be able to do that on your phone. Another piece of it is going to be what it's going to do for certain areas. I'll be a little bit of an advocate for my region in that Atlantic City is already a little bit ahead of the game because they have multiple casinos. So with all the casinos they have, this gives a real opportunity to again, move forward and make it even more exciting. Those weekends, whether it's a World Series or a Super Bowl or a playoff, are going to be very, very exciting. And people will be excited as well to do it online.
It's obviously been a very long road for you to make this happen. And Senator Jeff Van Drew, we thank you for your time.
You're welcome. It is an exciting time. And, once in a while in public life, it is good to see something that you fought for and worked for many, many years, and it actually comes to fruition. So it was a good day.
Got some comments coming in from Facebook regarding our NBA offseason discussion earlier. Tim Leonard says, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving should both go to the Knicks. That'll make them happy.
Oh, that would probably make Tim Leonard happy. And actually probably a lot of our coworkers here in New York City as we are.
Yeah, as we know, every player's tenure with the Knicks ends happily.
Yeah, it goes so well for all of those guys.
All right, the World Cup is here. What are you most excited about?
Well, I am going to be in Spain next week, and so I'm very excited to watch Spain. That was my pick to win before they fired the coach. Being in Spain, going to some of those local places and getting to be around that culture, that's what I'm most excited about.
My favorite thing about the World Cup, and we're here in New York right now, is just walking down the streets of New York and seeing all the different types of groups of people excited about rooting for their team. It's just palpable, the energy, and it makes me feel good about being amongst it and about seeing all those different cultures and all that enthusiasm.
Yeah, it's so fun to have this opportunity to absorb this other cultures that you wouldn't necessarily be coming together with. It just is such a great opportunity. And this is what I love about sports.
I'll go with the cliche pick. I've got Brazil in the World Cup. You can get more astute analysis like that tomorrow, same time, same place, right here.